Jazz clubs around the world are sitting empty, but jazz musicians will always have great music and stories to share. And since jazz fans aren't able to get out to hear great music, we will deliver jazz to you at home. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery with Tim Tamashiro. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Jazz Home Delivery. I'm your host, Tim Tamashiro. What a lovely day. Well, a little bit of a gray day, but there's no snow on the ground for a lovely change here in Calgary. Hopefully, you're having the exact same experience. Got a lovely show planned for you this evening on Jazz Home Delivery. Wanted to let you know that, of course, this is sponsored by TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days. This is the virtual festival that's taking place over 28 days in a row. We're working hard over here to make sure that you have a great experience. We're taking the experiences and the jazz musicians at home, bringing them to you at home. Hopefully you really enjoy it. This evening we have two wonderful acts. Alex Hutchison is a bassist based out of Calgary, and he has a gig that provides him with the best view in all of Canada when he's playing with his band. We also have Alexandra Clancy and Noah Gotfrit, and they are out in BC, and they have a little group that is called Shoestrings, Bass and Tap. That is what we're having this evening, and I couldn't be more thrilled to welcome everybody here to the mix. It's the party. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Give us a big wave.
Hi.
Alex Hutchison, you have a very fascinating gig, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. And you're lucky enough to get to go out to the mountains all the time, Rocky Mountains, and spend some time. We're going to talk to you about that, and we're also going to hear about your custom-made basses. I'm really fascinated to hear about this. You get to play the good stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's sure a treat.
You have three of them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Shoestrings, Alexandra and Noah. You're a lovely couple living. Where do you live, by the way?
We live in Vancouver.
Oh, you're out in Vancouver, and you get to do all your tap and bass together on wherever you choose to do it, because this is such a compact group, and you just take your tap board and your bass, and you could do it anywhere.
That is true. Yes.
I love it. I love it. Well, we're going to hear all about your story and hear you do your thing in a little bit. Right now, I'm going to go and talk to Alex Hutchison, okay? We'll be right back. Bear with me. Pushing buttons. Oh, wait a second. Push that one, and push that one, and push that one. There's the two of us. How are you doing, Alex?
Oh, really good.
Excellent. You're a busy band leader, usually, except for when COVID comes around. Is that the case?
Yeah. Not too busy. We do the odd fundraiser and play once in a while out at the Kananaskis Lodge.
Yeah. That's like the dream gig. Like if you had, and it's a unique gig too. You play at the Kananaskis Lodge, which is like right in the heart of the Rockies, right on the very edge of the foothills. The views are absolutely amazing, and you play winter and summer. What's it like to play in the winter?
It's unbelievable. There's a reason why musicians never play outside in the winter. It's so hard to do. Your fingers are freezing, and you've got all these winter clothes on, and I'm wearing fingerless gloves. And we made a mistake. The first time we started playing, we played 3 songs, and my fingers totally froze after 2 songs.
What was the temperature that night?
Well, I think it must around -10 or something, and plus the wind chill.
Oh,
it was freezing. It was life and death. So from then on, we just played 2 songs, and then we'd go inside and warm up. Yeah, we're playing outside at the fireside.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful, though. I just love it up there.
Well, it's pretty nice to be able to play around the fireside and let the people enjoy your music. You play a unique blend of world music, jazz, improv, that type of music. And so when you're playing your bass in the cold, the strings must be excruciating on your fingers.
Oh, it is so painful that it's hard to describe. That I think it might be like just putting your fingers on an ice cube and just holding them there.
Really?
That I don't know. I haven't done that though, but it's you don't realize how cold steel gets,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're holding your fingers up against this cold steel. It's just like nobody ever does that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no rational person would just do that anyways, but
Yeah,
musicians are a little
exactly. Yeah.
irrational, aren't we?
Oh yeah. One guy came up to us in between songs, and he went, "You guys are crazy."
Are
That's
you
a,
are you worried about your instrument when you're
I
outside
was,
playing in that type of temperature?
yeah, I was worried about my bass and my amplifier and speakers, and here they did it with no problem at all. Nothing ever went wrong. Our
That's
equipment's made better than we know it is.
yeah. Typically, and you're playing an electric bass. People would like with acoustic instruments might have like a completely different experience because it would expand and contract every time you went inside and outside and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, maybe a solid wood bass with strings like that. Maybe it just does it stay in tune?
Yeah. Oh, actually, not. No, it doesn't stay in tune very well. And the oh, so I was wearing using fingerless gloves,
Yeah,
and so it's really hard to play with gloves on.
no kidding.
That was sure unique also. So I would practice a little bit with these gloves on before I went and played a gig. That and it's just so strange to play with gloves on.
Oh,
With
so what are they like? Are they like baseball gloves or do
oh,
they warm up on the somehow or?
so yeah, you can get winter fingerless gloves, and then there's like a mitt that fits over top of them. But so I wouldn't use the mitt part, and they can't be too long. They've got to be fairly short. And on
Oh,
my right hand, I was using a leather bicycle glove because
oh,
I needed something shorter finger or longer exposed fingers to play with my right hand. It was really funny. Luckily, I brought three pairs of fingerless gloves, and one pair didn't work at all.
it's a big experiment. You got to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, it was sure.
Now you play out
Yeah,
there at Kananaskis Lodge in the summertime too. So those gigs would be completely different, obviously, for so many reasons. But I can imagine. I'm picturing the site. You got this beautiful campfire, like a bonfire, and people probably sitting around in Adirondack chairs, and you're playing your music, and they're just sipping on wine, and that sounds like a pretty good gig.
yeah, yeah. And there's this huge mountain that we can see, and I think it's like Mount Kidd or
It
something.
is,
I can't
yeah.
really think of it. And it's just gorgeous that it just overshadows the lodge. That oh no, you wouldn't believe the water. Their tap water there is unbelievable. Like no chlorine. It's just the best water in the world.
It
And
comes
the
straight
air
down
is
from the mountains
beautiful.
to your lips, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's right out of the spring into your glass.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. You've been kind enough to prepare this song for us. This song is called Night Path. We're going to play it here right now. What can you tell us about this particular song?
Uh, Not much. It's just more of a name. There wasn't really anything behind it. I just thought it was sort of like running down a path at night or something.
Yeah.
Is all I can really describe.
Okay, well, with that in mind, we're going to play it right now for you. Here's Alex Hutchison. He's performing here on behalf of the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days. This is the virtual festival. Really happy to have you here with us, Alex. And here's your song, Night Path. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Hutchison, and with the song Night Path. I'm picturing the night path being, in the mountains, walking through some trees, maybe a little bit of snow on the ground. Is that what you're dreaming of when you're writing that song?
That sounds like a good explanation.
We'll take it, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about the bass that you were playing in that particular song. Is that one of the custom basses that you bought from Uber bassist Dale James?
It sure is. Yeah, he designed that bass, and Takazono made it. And Gary Willis put the finish on the fingerboard, and it's got a active Bartolini pickup wired passively, which you'll never hear of anybody doing anything like that. And then Gary Willis took that idea and had Takazono make a bass for him. And then Ibanez put out a line of Gary Willis 5-string fretless basses that are just like a copy of mine.
So yours yours would be like do you think it would be like the prototype?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Dale doesn't get any nobody ever mentions Takazono or Dale James about these Gary Willis basses.
Very interesting.
Oh yeah, when you're famous like Gary Willis, that's all they want to hear is his name. They don't know anything. They don't know the background behind them.
Ah, okay, yeah. Now, how did you get your hands on it? Because Dale James, he had it custom made and whatnot. But how did you lift it off of him?
So I had some money coming to me from a car accident, so I could afford to get a bass lesson from Dale. So I went up there and had a bass lesson, and I had a really cheap Samick 5-string fretless bass. And at the end, after the lesson, Dale hands me this Hosono bass and says, "Here, try this." And it was just like Cinderella and the Glass Slipper.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I picked it up, I started soloing and everything. It was just made to solo, and Dale sold it to me. I can't believe it. It was just like he was waiting for somebody that was the right person to buy this. There's a few bass players wanting to buy it off him. I was sure lucky. What a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, no kidding. And that didn't happen just once. It happened twice because you bought 2 basses from him. Are they both those Takazono basses?
No, the other one was designed by Michael Tobias for Dale.
Yeah.
And it's like a manufactured Chinese bass that Michael Tobias put together for Dale and put the electronic upgrade from his best basses on it. And it's fantastic. It's a 5-string fretted bass.
Okay. That one has volume knobs on it. The other one doesn't though, right?
Yeah.
How do you control the sound if there's no volume knob on the Takazono bass?
I just use my amplifier. You don't usually need to really adjust the volume on your instrument.
Yeah.
You just set it up during your sound check and you're fine.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you get a chance to be back out in the mountains doing your gigs again. And I know it's a precarious time. How are you managing to stay busy and stay creative?
Oh, I've got cabin fever. Music is my life, so I'm really missing even playing with my band, just in rehearsing with them and stuff.
Yeah.
And I've also got a gig with David Haney on a restaurant on the beach in Seattle that got canceled, and I'm sure looking forward to that coming up.
Well,
after this is all over.
Hopefully you get a chance to be out and about doing gigs again soon, because cabin fever can be lethal sometimes. It's painful, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's so great to have this opportunity to do this. This is just what I needed.
Good. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, that's kind of like our band is called Shadow Play, and we come out of the shadows and play once in a while.
Yeah. That's a good explanation. Thank you so much, Alex Hutchison, for being a part of the show. You stay right there because I'm going to go over and talk to our other guests here for a little while. Are you okay with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Wonderful. I have, we're here with the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Days Virtual Festival, and our guests coming up right now have a bit of a unique vibe because they are called Shoestrings, but individually, Alexandra Clancy and Noah Gotfrit, and welcome to the show.
Hey,
Hello. Thanks for having us.
You're out there in Vancouver. And apparently you got your brakes fixed today. I'm blown away by the fact that you can get brakes done right now during COVID. Mm-hmm. Surprise! So, Alexandra, you are a tap dancer.
Yes.
Noah, you're a bassist. And now tell me about how your journey together has kind of unraveled as a music first, love second scenario. How did you meet? How does a tap dancer collaborate with a bassist?
Yeah, well, a friend of mine was playing a gig in Vancouver and invited me to come and sit in. And on that gig, Noah was playing bass. And we got to talking after and started inviting each other to our gigs and having each other like sit in and starting to play together and kind of developed this friendship. And and then once we started dating, we started kind of collaborating, just the two of us, more often, and really enjoyed that process. And so kind of wanted to title some of the stuff we were working on under the umbrella of Shoestrings.
Which is so perfect. I mean, that's the most perfect name for a tap and bass duo in the history of tap and bass duos. It's really quite beautiful. So I'm trying to imagine, inviting each other to your gigs. So Noah, you'd invite Alex to your gig, and would you say, bring your shoes?
Well, yeah, I mean, so Vancouver's lucky to have like a really open jazz community. I play a lot of swing dances, and there was this, before COVID, there was this Tuesday night gig called the Hot Jazz Jam, which was both a swing dance and a jam session for musicians. And there had been tap dancers, like, there's actually quite a few like tap dancers in Vancouver, and the musicians know about them. And there's a tradition of tap dancers coming and sitting in at jams and gigs. And so say bring your shoes, but not just shoes. She's got to bring her tap board too, because you can't just tap dance on anything.
Yeah.
And so I'd play, I was lucky to I am lucky to play with musicians who are cool and open minded and down for people to come sit in, and it's part of the jazz tradition, as you know. And tap dance and jazz, like, they have shared history of that, so it was cool. Like, it always made the musicians happy.
It's a match made in heaven, and I'm trying to imagine Alex, you or Alexandra, carting your your tap board. Does it fold in half?
I have a handful of them, some made, some bought. I do have one that folds in half.
So it's like carrying your instrument down the road, and your shoes slung over your shoulder.
I always imagine that carrying my tap board doesn't seem as strenuous as carrying a massive upright bass. Yeah. So we both have very heavy instruments to be lugging around sometimes.
Well, you'll have to figure out a way that you can tap dance on the bass.
That would be cool.
That would be a disaster. Yeah, sorry. I just thought of that. Idea. So, Alexandra, do you think of yourself as a dancer first or as a musician?
I think because of my history growing up as a competitive dancer in that realm, I identify as a tap dancer first, but because specifically with tap dance and how it is so correlated with jazz music, I feel like it's a responsibility for tap dancers to educate themselves on jazz music. So I've tried my best to kind of continuously learn and immerse myself in jazz music and learn from jazz musicians, and try my best to fill certain musician roles and like in percussion or melody as best as I can. But I obviously do have the history as a dancer, but trying my best to keep integrity to the jazz music portion of it, for sure.
That's beautiful. So when you create a number together, and we're going to see a number here right after this, but I'm curious to learn about when you create a number together, how does it take shape? Do you think choreography first? Do you think bass line first? You also used the word melody when we were talking earlier. Tell me about the creative process.
I mean, we've at this point we've explored like quite a few different processes, and I'm sure that there's more that we haven't. But we've done anything from, where would just be like jamming, like open jam, like you do, like, in like in like, with a rock band, 12-year-old rock band in your mom's basement, just like jamming, anywhere from that to like, I'll like, I'll write a tune and she'll choreograph, or she'll, come up with a rhythmic tap choreography, which I'll write a melody to, and, some songs that we do like have both, or multiple processes have created the one piece, or, I mean, and another cool thing is, because tap dancers know it's jazz standard, so we can also just jam on like a standard and trade choruses the way, any two musicians would.
So somebody could literally, if you were at a gig, somebody would go, "I got rhythm," and you guys could, bang it out and have a good time.
Yeah, totally.
I love everything about this. This is just so much fun. I think it's just so much fun. So tell me about the melody that you've created for this video coming up, the Shades of Green video.
Sure. For Shades of Green, we started composing that tune when we were at a residency on Galliano Island called the Lena Residency. Mm-hmm. And during that time, we were kind of had this beautiful creative space. And one late night when we were trying to put in some more work, we were immersed in this little barn that's converted into a studio, and it's surrounded by trees, and it's absolutely stunning. And we were really inspired by all of the forests and all of these shades of green. And I had a little bit of choreography kind of come to mind, and had this really abstract melody. And luckily, Noah was able to then kind of chart it out and figure out the exact chords and everything. And from there, we had this really abstract and kind of beautiful melody. And then we kind of created a B section since we've been here and kind of self-isolating.
That is absolutely wonderful. What a lovely way to be able to come together and be creative. And had you, I'm going to get saucy here for a second. Had you kissed each other by this point, or is this brand new?
By that point, we'd been dating for a while.
Okay. Well, we don't have to get into details or anything like that, but sounds like a perfect place for a love affair to begin. So.
It's a beautiful place.
It is a beautiful place. I'm going to play the song right now. Our friends Alexandra Clancy and Noah Gotfrit are appearing here at the TD JazzYYC International Jazz Day Virtual Festival. Their number is called Shades of Green. You're in for a treat, everybody. Please enjoy.
Well, thank you. Ooh, that was very cool. Yeah, definitely.
You two talk in terms like your songwriters. You talk like AABA basically means that you're A section, B section, almost, you call it verse, chorus, bridge, all that kind of stuff. So that's the terms that you think in?
I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, for me at least as a composer, I mean, I feel like nothing I've written has really stretched too far from that, standard AABA pop song chord progression, which is just like so old at this point, but so effective and like so much freedom within. And I think, for tap dancers too, who have to learn jazz tunes, and, when you're thinking, or you're even in a jam session, like, everyone's soloed, okay, like, it's been going on for a while, let's take it out from the bridge, I mean, I think musicians, like in, one of the primary facets of music is the song. And so I think musicians, a lot of the time do think in terms of song form, in that way, and it's helpful, to know your
Yeah.
place.
Do tap dancers think in those terms as well? Like, so you think, okay, I'm going to do something very specific for the verse, and I'm going to do something that's completely different during the chorus.
Yeah, I think that for any kind of dance, it's really important to have that relationship with whatever song you're using. So in jazz, sometimes it'll be identifying the AABA, or sometimes it'll be, even if it's identifying, oh, this song has this certain groove or this certain feel, and kind of really kind of thinking about what it needs, or how you want to kind of have that relationship. And so, yeah, when we're writing songs together, I think that we sometimes we come at it with lots of different things of like, oh, we have this really strong feeling, or we are really up tempo, or maybe there's this groove and different mood, and kind of go from there.
It's a super cool process, and you two are very adept at pulling it all together. We have another number here that Noah. So what happened here? This particular song, Monkish. Did you write the song first and then you added tap, or how did it go?
Yeah, this was a tune that I composed, just thinking about, with tap in mind. I definitely composed this with tap in mind. Like, ever since I kind of got into like thinking about tap dancers and their relationship to jazz music, like something about Monk's music just really seems like, I feel like the way that he played rhythms and the way that tap dancers like to have their rhythmic vocabulary, like something about it just really seems to go together. And one day I want to try and make some kind of record that's like a tribute to Monk but with tap. But
Yeah.
but this was me kind of trying to write a song, like, as not necessarily exactly in the language of Monk, because it's not really. It's also definitely like inspired by Mingus a bit, who's like my other big hero.
Sure.
And then, yeah, so I wrote the melody. It's AABA. It's based on the chord progression of I Got Rhythm, basically. And then I brought it to Alex, and she choreographed, and then we kind of worked out the form of how we were going to perform it for this video. And there's also kind of like an ensemble, or what you might call like a shout chorus in big band arranging. That was another thing that we had talked about that I kind of wanted to bring to this tune, was like, I'm an arranger too. I feel like that's one of the things I consider myself to be, like, as much as the performers, I love arranging. And so to try and like come to a duo setting, but with the mindset of a big band arranger, was like, maybe you probably wouldn't ever know that if just by hearing the piece, but that was what I was kind of trying to do in a way.
And one thing that we can listen to in this particular performance is that you're doing canon type of a delivery as well. So you're playing one part, and then at another portion, then Alexandra is tapping the exact same part. So you're doing it in canon to each other.
Yes, that is another thing which we came up with actually kind of together after we were like sort of workshopping the tune, because that's like I don't know, that's a very tap dancer thing to do. I feel like in tap pieces you often see like one will play a rhythm and then they'll play the same rhythm offset, and it's a really cool effect. And so but it's not something that really happens in jazz all that often. I mean, there are examples, but anyway, it was something cool to try.
I'm really excited to play this for everybody. Let's jump over there now. This is the version of Monkish, a brand new tune that our friend Noah Gotfrit has composed, and Alexandra Clancy has co-composed as a tap dancer. Here we go. There we have Monkish. That's going to be my new earworm. I'll have to work on the tap dancing.
Yes, it's a very catchy melody.
It is a very catchy melody. Great job, you guys. Shoestrings with us here on Jazz Home Delivery. And thank you so much for giving us some insight into your creative process and your talents. I think you have something real special there. So I hope to see you again in the future. And I'm going to be doing some beat poetry with you guys. I'm going to bring
Fantastic.
Alex
Yes,
Hutchison.
we look forward to that.
I'm going to bring Alex Hutchison into the mix here. There's Alex. He's patiently waiting at his home in Calgary here. Thank you all for being on the show. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yes, indeed. Hopefully that you're finding this time of COVID as an opportunity to explore and experiment and expand your brains. And if tonight is any indication, it looks like it's proven itself really effective. So thanks to each of you. And we have some sponsors that we want to thank. Give everybody a big wave. Thanks for tuning in to Jazz Home Delivery. I'm going to say thanks to some sponsors here right now. Here we go. JazzYYC would like to thank the following sponsors for their generous support that has helped bring this virtual jazz festival to you. TD, Jazz Home Delivery, the City of Calgary, Alberta Foundation for the Arts, the Government of Canada, Calgary Arts Development, Inglewood BIA, CKUA Radio, Calgary Public Library, CADME, the Coalition for Music Education Music Monday, Studio Bell, home of the National Music Center, Decidedly Jazz Danceworks, and the Music Mile. Thank you. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, please subscribe to this page, and if you want to receive more information about this or any of JazzYYC's other upcoming programming, please visit jazzyyc.com and become a member.